Li Changgong sat on the sofa, his eyes lowered. Suzaku thought he would fly into a rage, stand up, and angrily rebuke and refute him. But Li Changgong did not do that. He paused for a moment, then smiled faintly. "You're right, so here I am, or I. It's because I want to change myself. For the past 3 years, I have been worried every day that I will repeat the same fate as Luo Xioi. Actually, I had many opportunities to improve myself. I had the chance to go to the Southwest region and the Fremont region, but I was afraid." He leaned back on the sofa, his eyes filled with a hint of reminiscence and melancholy. When people have too much, they always become hesitant and indecisive. Li Guangxiao and the others noticed the change in Li Changgong. After being ousted from power by Xiao Lai, he seemed to have truly matured and did not give up on himself. Zhu crossed her arms, wanting to hear what her brother was up to. If he could truly repent and change his ways, she would still have hope for him. After all, Li Changgong's talent is exceptionally high. His ability, "I am the will of heaven," is among the most outstanding, even among special ability types. Ignoring all rules, it indiscriminately cuts through everything. If this ability is developed well, it can even be used to kill enemies many times stronger than oneself. Li Changgong spread his arms wide. "I have nothing left now. At first, I felt a lot of pain and wanted to take back everything that belonged to me immediately. But I stayed in Tianhai City for 3 days. After seeing what Zhang Ye looked like, I suddenly understood. It turns out that people cannot carry burdens forward. That's why this guy's ability is to pack everything up, so he doesn't have to worry about it. I don't have his abilities, but now, I don't need to wake up every day thinking about how to manage a region, or whether my subordinates will betray me. I am very free and relaxed now. I can do whatever I want, and even if I die, I don't have to worry about the region collapsing because of me," Li Changgong said with a smile. "From this perspective, Xiao Lai has actually taken away my trouble." A satisfied expression appeared on Li Guangxiao's face. "You really are different now," Li Changgong said. "Let me tell you why I'm here. Actually, as I've said before, many opportunities have been presented to me. It's just that I hesitated before and didn't dare to take them. I know of a place where ancient civilization relics exist beneath the ocean. I don't have the ability to explore this place myself. I think that in the entire Huaxu Kingdom, only the East Sea region, which has strong ocean exploration capabilities, has the ability to explore it." Upon hearing this, Li Guangxiao's expression immediately changed, and Zhu and Xuanwu also had serious expressions, their eyes flashing with excitement. The discovery of underground civilizations means great danger, but also great opportunities. Now they have received several mechanical life forms shared by Zhang Yi. The research on them alone has raised the technological level of the East China Sea region to a whole new level. "Nephew, are you telling the truth?" Li Guangxiao rested his chin on his hands, his gaze deep and thoughtful. "Don't joke about something like this." "Certainly," Li Changgong said. "Don't forget that my mother was the director of the Shengjing Archaeological Institute. I've been exposed to ancient history and mythology since I was a child. In the past 3 years, I haven't wasted my talents." Sixth uncle Ziohen and Xuanwu. "Have you ever heard of Gixu? The classic of mountains and seas, eastern wilderness, mentions that there is a huge chasm outside the East Sea, into which all the seawater in the world flows, but the water in Gixu does not increase or decrease. Legend has it that Xiahao raised Jiangsu in this very place." Li Changgong said, "The ruins of return do exist. I have sent people to explore many areas of the Huaxu Kingdom. The Central Plains Kingdom is occupied by the land of the dragon ancestor, and the races under the kindling dragon vein are hiding there, so no other races can invade that land. But in the ruins of Gixu overseas, my people detected unusual fluctuations. I can confirm that it is the entrance to the maritime civilization." Li Guangxiao stroked his chin. "You mean we should explore together?" Li Changgong smiled slightly. "You should be very clear about how powerful the underground civilization is. Relying solely on the current strength of the East China Sea region is too risky. With me on board, the probability of success will become much higher. Besides, I'm your best partner, aren't I?" He was right about that, and Li Guangxiao nodded in agreement. Whether they go to the Shengjing region or the Jiangnan region, given their way of doing things, the Donghai region will only be able to eat what they have left over. Especially Zhang Yi. That guy's way of doing things is simply stingy. He eats meat, but others can't just drink the soup. They can only drink the dishwater. If it's confirmed that the ruins you mentioned do exist, then we can cooperate." Li Guangxiao agreed. Li Changgong smiled, stood up, bent down and shook hands with Li Guangxiu across the coffee table. I will not let you down. If we succeed this time, the East China Sea region will become the world's most powerful navy. And I will get everything I want. Tianhai City. Zhang Yi decided to travel to Cage. This wasn't for anyone else, it was only for himself. As agreed, Olive did indeed send over the Dead Sea Scrolls. These are genuine photographs of the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is an incomplete ancient book, with text recorded on early papyrus, and it is fragmented. The Holy See has spent hundreds of years compiling this document, and has offered a high reward for anyone who can repair and supplement it. Only now do we have this oldest surviving version of the Bible. Following the old custom, Zhang Yi handed it to Yang Xingxin, since he couldn't understand these ancient characters either. We still have to go there eventually, Zhang Yi said to Yang Xingxin. Only by sealing Mammon can the marks on us be removed. Yang Xingxin was so focused on the documents in front of her that she didn't have time to turn around. The top priority right now should be to study the data on the Kingdom of Cage. This country is too mysterious, and we are going to a country with tens of millions of people to carry out our operations on their home turf. A slight misstep could trigger a war. Zhang Yi crossed his arms and said, "That's one of the reasons why they sent me on missions. If something goes wrong, at least I can guarantee I can escape. But brother, this mission is different from all your previous missions." Yang Xingxin gave Zhang Yi a deep look. "We are entering a human kingdom that is recognized by secular law. And it is about taking something from the leader of this country. This involves very complex matters, which may even involve political factors. That's why the Holy See cannot directly intervene. Do you plan to inform the Shengjing region and the other regions about this matter?" Zhang Yi pondered for a moment and said, "There's no need for that. Those guys in Shengjing are too smart, and they must have some connection with the Kindling Dragon clan. I was worried that if I told them, they would connect it to what happened in Fremont. Right now, I don't want anyone to know that we have inherited the legacy of the Ihan clan." Yang Xingxin nodded. "Since it's your decision, brother, I will definitely support it." Zhang Yi watched Yang Xingxin diligently reviewing the information, but there was something he didn't tell her. Because it was a secret that he couldn't tell anyone yet, he needed time to verify it. Night falls. Zhang Yi opened his eyes, and all he saw was that white, misty world. A vast, boundless ocean formed by white spheres of light. Some orbs of light are very small, like a speck of dust. Others are very large, even like the sun, suspended in midair, with many smaller orbs of light revolving around them. This seems to be the prototype of the universe, or perhaps the prototype that the universe imitates. Rustle, rustle, tilde. Whispers came from all directions, so faint they were barely audible. Zhang Yi took a deep breath. He probably did that because he couldn't see his own body at this moment. He seemed to have become part of these orbs of light. I don't know when it started, but he was able to enter the world of ether. Ling didn't explain this to him back at Tianyu Palace because of time constraints. However, as his powers and spirituality grew stronger, he was able to enter the etheric world more frequently. It evokes a feeling of returning home. Haha, just kidding. Shortly after Zhang Yi appeared, not far from him, an enormous sphere of light suddenly magnified before his eyes. It's not zooming in, it's moving closer to him. Zhang Yi felt as if he could move with his mind, but he was definitely not as fast as the giant ball of light approaching. In the blink of an eye, it was in front of Zhang Yi. Then from a ball of light, limbs gradually extended out, and a form appeared. In the end, it transformed into the shape of a humanoid creature. Zhang Yi recognized the face immediately. It was Ling, one of the 4 knights of Tianyu Palace. "I never thought I'd see you again, Ling." Although Zhang Yi was somewhat surprised, because he knew nothing about this world, he had become numb to everything after experiencing various shocks for so long. He greeted Ling naturally. "Yeah, I knew you'd come, so there's nothing strange about it." Ling replied. Zhang Yi asked curiously, "Are you still you now? Even if your true spirit returns to the ether, you are no longer a part of Kagego, but rather the Rin I know." "No, both." Ling answered calmly. "I am one with Kagego, and I am one with you. It's just that you haven't returned to the ether yet. The spirit's understanding of the material world is the part of the information we bring back. The more powerful the spirit, the more information it can bring back. Therefore, I have retained a considerable portion of my memories. After all, in my billions of years of life, 99% of my memories can be erased. This seems to explain why some people are born claiming to have memories of past lives. The essence of the spirit is like a memory. The stronger the spirit, the larger its capacity." Zhang Yi began to have doubts. This was an unexpected reunion. However, I've recently run into some trouble. No, it's quite a bit of trouble. Damn it, after I learned that I would enter this etheric world after my death, I suddenly felt that life and death were insignificant. So you see, even knowing that my physical body in the material world might be destroyed, I can still speak to you in a calm tone. Zhang Ye said this with feigned humor. Ling looked down at Zhang Ye, her enormous spiritual form before Zhang Ye was as large as a bright moon. You bring up your troubles with me, which is most likely because of Drucker, right? Zhang Ye nodded. I have been marked and so have my friends. Could it be a death warrant? Ling said calmly. Drucker will indiscriminately hunt down any life form with high spiritual power. Not just you, but all high spiritual life forms in this world are his targets. However, since you have been baptized by the spiritual ocean, you must be among the first few pages of their recipes. Zhang Ye let out a long sigh. Shift, just as I expected. Is there a way to avoid this? Zhang Ye asked, unwilling to give up. Certainly. Ling gave an affirmative answer. 2 options: first, seal them away. Second, escape as far away as possible. Zhang Ye said, recently, someone contacted me, wanting to take advantage of the moment when he's severely injured to seal him away. This way, we can delay the arrival of the world's end. Do you think this is feasible? Ling smiled. Zhang Ye saw blatant contempt on her face. Indeed, Drucker was severely injured by the 4 of us working together. In our normal state, Drucker wouldn't be a big threat. But at that time, we had already begun to disintegrate and return to the ether, so we only managed to inflict serious damage on him. Furthermore, due to the unfortunate timing, he was subjected to the rules of this world, namely Kagego's judgment. As a result, his injuries were extremely severe. If it weren't for Drucker, any other race would probably be dead by now. Zhang Ye's eyes gradually brightened. So we have a very good chance of succeeding, right? Ling said his power is less than 0.01% of his peak strength. However, killing you humans is still incredibly easy for him. Zhang Ye fell silent for a moment. Doesn't that mean there's absolutely no hope? Ling chuckled softly. Hey, Mr. Chaos, what do you take the end of the world for? What makes you think that the end of the world can be passed so easily? Do you know that even the crudest first-generation creations of the 5 generations before you were far more powerful than you during the apocalypse? Over the course of more than 4 billion years, countless civilizations have been born on this planet. The vast majority of them have reached an extraordinary level of civilization. But in the end, only a very small number of people will survive the great calamity. Even today, they still have to hide in the shadows like rats. If the end of the world were so easy to avoid, it wouldn't be called the end of the world. Zhang Ye fell silent again. Sometimes the more you know, the more desperate you become. In the outside world, most humans believed they had withstood the cold and would rebuild human civilization during the Ice Age. But how many people truly understand that the real disaster, the far more terrible disaster, has yet to truly arrive in this world? Does this mean I have no other choice but to wait for death? Zhang Ye looked at Ling. Ling, please help me. After all, I am also your chosen successor. If I die so easily, you or even the entire Yihan clan will lose face. Ling tilted her head. Oh, what you said seems to make some sense. Indeed, with your current strength, you are far too weak to fight against Drucker. And in every era, Drucker grew stronger through continuous absorption. After all, he was, theoretically, a being who had the potential to surpass the Creator. Yes, I do need to give you some help. Otherwise, you'll definitely die. Ling spoke of this with a smile. However, she had already seen through life and death, so she didn't care much. But isn't that interesting? You raise a fascinating 6th-generation creature, watching it fight against its predetermined fate, much like a raising game. This was truly an unexpected joy. Then let me give you some guidance. Ling pointed her finger at Zhang Ye, looking down at him as if a god were pointing at a mortal. Although we, the Yihan race, have all returned to the ether, we still built a defense mechanism to protect the heavenly palace. That is, those humanoid shells you see. That was the pinnacle of Ishtar technology. My body shell was driven into Drucker's body like a wedge before I returned to the ether. If you can remove it, it will be of great help to you in the future. Zhang Ye's eyes lit up. Is it something like armor? Ling said, no, it's not that simple. You can think of it as my material self. If you can awaken it, it has more comprehensive memories than I do. What it lacks is only the spirit that is the essence of an intelligent being. Imagine if you were to create a robot that looks exactly like you and has all your memories implanted in it. Would it be you? Zhang Ye suddenly understood everything. I understand what you mean. In that case, I will do everything in my power to get it. Ling said with a smile, "You'd better do your best, because that might be your only chance. If you miss it, you'll never have a chance to fight Drucker again, because you are too weak to rely on your own strength alone." Zhang Yi slowly woke up from her sleep. He has had this dream countless times, and has begun to get used to communicating with the ether. This conversation with Ling was very rewarding for him. He saw hope, the hope of surviving the apocalypse with everyone around him. As soon as it was light, he immediately summoned everyone in the shelter. This includes Deng Shentong, who is already permanently stationed in Tianhai City. He was on the Chernobyl wasteland when the Aihen race's spiritual ocean erupted. On that day, all living beings on Earth underwent a baptism, albeit to varying degrees. Zhang Yi and Yang Xingxin, who were in the center of the storm, were naturally the biggest beneficiaries. The second group consisted of everyone on the Chernobyl wasteland that day. Although the changes in the body are not immediately apparent, the speed at which the superpowers improve gradually increases, and the increasing strength of the abilities becomes evident. Deng Shentong's strength has also reached the level of the superpower index. Zhang Yi had considered cultivating him. After all, he had used a very special method to break through to the Epsilon, thanks to Amber's abilities. If one day we could give him a sacrificial spirit, I believe it would bring about a qualitative change in his abilities. But that's a story for another time. After everyone had arrived, Zhang Yi said, "We're heading to North Africa. This time, the Holy See of Zhenjiang invited us to carry out the mission of sealing the demon King Mammon. Once the Druk Titan awakens, he will inevitably destroy the entire world. We, especially those of us on the surface, will be sitting ducks. Therefore, we must seal him away to delay the end of the world." Deng Shentong laughed and said, "Commander Zhang, Your Excellency, you can make the decision on this matter. We will follow your lead now." Deng Shentong began to jokingly call Zhang Yi Commander Zhang, because, in his view, Tianhai City now possessed a regional-level armed force. Zhang Yi said, "I'm informing you so you can prepare in advance. This time we are going to a foreign land. We don't know anything about the country of Cage, nor do we know how difficult the mission we are about to carry out will be. So, as is my habit, I will still go all out. However, since this is not a war mission, I will only take a small number of elites with me. The rest will stay behind to continue building Tianhai City." Centered on the Skycia fortress, a third layer of defense was created. Living inside the third line of defense are the tens of thousands of low-level mutants and workers with extraordinary skills in Tianhai City. Tianhai City doesn't tolerate idlers. Although it only has tens of thousands of people, they are the cream of the crop from the surrounding urban area. Zhang Yi explained his plans. It was still their entire core team from the shelter that mobilized, bringing Skycia Fortress with them. The remaining people were to be taken over by Bailey Changqing and Ma Wenzheng, who were tasked with continuing the city's construction. Deng Shentong said, "If it's North Africa, our family's reach isn't deep enough yet, but I have some friends in Europe who can help investigate." Zhang Yi nodded. "Okay, then do your best to do it. When you get there and meet up with the people from the Holy See, they will provide the necessary information, but it's always more reassuring to have it yourself." The family members were used to this kind of thing, so the preparations were carried out in an orderly manner. Yang Xingxin suddenly spoke up at this moment, saying, "Brother, I've tried to do a simulation of this operation. I have some very important information to share with you." Deduction. Zhang Yi looked at Yang Xingxin with some surprise. He doesn't remember Yang Xingxin having the ability to control time. In a daze, he thought of the time at Tianyu Palace, when Yang Xingxin was chosen by 2 knights. Could it be that she awakened some even more powerful ability after that? Thinking about it this way, it immediately makes sense. Yang Xingxin said to Zhang Yi, "Brother, do you still remember the Akashic records that I talked to you about before?" Zhang Yi nodded. "You mentioned to me something about Laplace's demon theory, right? Laplace's demon is a classic theory in the field of physics. The person who proposed the theory was Laplace. At that time, people believed that Newtonian classical mechanics could explain all phenomena in the universe. Laplace then proposed that there exists a monster that can know the position and motion of every atom in the universe with absolute accuracy. At the same time, it also possesses extraordinary computing power, capable of instantly calculating the position and motion of all atoms in the universe at any future moment based on Newton's laws of motion, thereby accurately predicting all future events. Similarly, it can also know the state of the universe at any past moment through backward calculation. Simply put, once the universe is born, its past, present, and future are predetermined, provided that it is not affected by external factors. Just like a train moving at a constant speed in a straight line, its position at each point in time can be calculated mathematically without the influence of external forces. The Akashic records share a similar theory with Laplace's concept of demons. He believes that at the center of the universe, there exists a record containing all the information about the entire universe from its birth to its destruction. Throughout history, many people who have been able to foresee the future have inadvertently connected to the Akashic records. Among the most famous figures in the Huaxu Kingdom are the well-known Jiang Ziya, Yuan Tiangeng, Li Chunfeng, and Liu Bowen. Jiang Ziya predicted that the Zhou dynasty would last for 800 years, with some setbacks along the way. Yuan Tiangeng and Li Chunfeng's Tui Bei Tu accurately predicted the course of history for the next 1,000 years. And Liu Bowen's Xiaobing Ji was also confirmed to be consistent with the trajectory of future development. While the story of Jiang Ziya is difficult to verify, the Tui Bei Tu and Xiaobing Ji have been passed down to this day and have been confirmed. Yang Xingxin said, "I was indeed greatly inspired after returning from Chernobyl. After studying the Tui Bei Tu, I know that today's end times, as a super event rarely seen in ancient and modern times, must be confirmed by the hexagrams in the Tui Bei Tu. As it turns out, I actually found some clues." She looked at Zhang Yi, her eyes filled with a hint of excitement. "And it's about you, brother." Zhang Yi was stunned for a moment, and after several seconds he pointed to his own nose. Our ancestors from over 1,000 years ago actually had divination symbols related to them. I don't know whether to call it an honor or bad luck, because those caught in the vortex of history were either emperors and generals or huge unfortunate souls. The other family members, upon hearing this, also looked over with great curiosity. "Oh, I see. Miss Yang, we hope you can tell us more about it." Deng Shentong showed great interest. Fatty Su laughed and said, "Young Master Deng, someone like you actually believes in this stuff. I thought people like you from wealthy families who have received world-class educations didn't believe in fortune-telling or metaphysics." Deng Shentong glanced at Fatty Su, his eyes filled with a hint of helplessness. "On the contrary, you probably don't know this, but in this world, the higher a person's position, the more they believe in fortune-telling and metaphysics. Our Deng family, for example, has a professional fortune teller. Let me put it this way, even if I want to get married, I still have to have my partner's Zai Wei Du Shu, a Chinese astrological system, calculated to see if they can have excellent offspring." Uncle Yu and Fatty Su were both surprised. While Zhou Care, Yang Xia and others did not show much change in expression. They also came from high society and had heard about these things. Deng Shentong explained to Fatty Su and Uncle Yu, "Every large family has its own fortune teller. For example, the Li family that you are familiar with, one branch of which has accumulated great wealth in Hong Kong, has a fortune teller who can predict their fate. And this is true of all the major families in the country. Even ordinary people, once they come into contact with the upper circles, whether they gain wealth or official rank, will become obsessed with this path. Because when people reach a certain level, they will understand one thing: all your success comes mainly from destiny, not from your own efforts. When fortune smiles, heaven and earth lend their strength. When fortune turns, even heroes are powerless. You've studied hard for over a decade and worked tirelessly, yet you're no match for someone who just appears on TV once and becomes an overnight sensation. If you're destined for officialdom, you don't need to study." Deng Shentong's explanation made both Fatty Su and Uncle Yu seem thoughtful. "According to you, does that mean personal effort is completely useless?" Uncle Yu looked somewhat disappointed. Deng Shentong shook his head. "Not at all. As people often say, success is 70% destiny and 30% hard work. According to Zai Wei Du Shu Purple Star Astrology, the factors that determine a person's fate are the three powers: heaven, earth, and man. Fate, geography, and human factors. Human factors account for 1/3, so personal efforts can have the opportunity to defy fate." Deng Shentong spoke with great conviction, sounding just like a fortune teller at a street stall. However, Zhang Yi believed this, because he knew that the world operates according to the will of the Creator, and that individuals are like standalone machines outside the main server. Deng Shentong looked at Yang Xingxin. "The Tui Bei Tu is a classic work of metaphysics and fortune-telling, and people throughout history have analyzed it. However, most of it is nonsense. Miss Yang, what are your thoughts?" Yang Xingxin said, "When I learned that my brother was going to cage in North Africa, I suddenly had a feeling, and understood the hexagram of the Tui Bei 2 as if I had an epiphany. She displayed the divination results in midair for everyone to see. This divination image depicts a burly, strong man raising his fists in a fighting stance. Below are prophecies and eulogies. The prophecy says, "Dark and gloomy, killing without a knife. 10,000 may survive, but one will not escape." The poem reads, "There was a soldier carrying a bow who said, 'I am an old man with white hair. A golden sword lies hidden inside the east gate. A brave warrior enters the imperial palace through the back gate.'" The crowd stared at the words for a long time, unable to understand their meaning, let alone what they had to do with Zhang Yi. We're just waiting for Yang Xingxin to give an explanation. Under everyone's gaze, Yang Xingxin pointed to the pictures and text and began to interpret them. "This time we are going to the Kingdom of Cage to obtain the Spear of Longinus, the sealed artifact of Mammon. Therefore, we will inevitably clash with the high-ranking officials of the Kingdom of Cage. A dark and gloomy atmosphere, killing without a knife. This may refer to Mammon, because in the mythology of Huaxu Kingdom, Mammon is called Zhulong. We all witnessed it during Chernobyl. He had the ability to blot out the sky. But there is another explanation, which is the current situation in the Kingdom of Cage. The commander's rule is dark, so the sky and earth are shrouded in gloom. The most important part is the next line. 10,000 may not die, but one will not escape." Deng Shentong listened carefully and then gave his opinion. "Does that mean killing one person can save thousands?" He looked at Zhang Yi and asked in a questioning tone, "Does heaven want us to kill Commander Saiyan?" Yang Xingxin said, "If you only understand this sentence, there might be another meaning, and this is related to the power of faith. The power of faith has been explained to us by the Lord of the Underworld. As long as the most devout believer makes a vow in their heart and concentrates a great deal of weak power on one person, it will produce a powerful effect. Therefore, killing one person is equivalent to annihilating the power of 10,000 people." A thoughtful look flashed in her eyes. Perhaps this represents the future reality. Wars between races will be decided by the top mutants who concentrate all the resources of the race. If the top mutants are defeated, the entire race will perish. If 10,000 don't die, one will not escape. In reality, if one dies, 10,000 will also meet a bad end. After hearing Yang Xingxin's words, Zhang Yi rubbed his hands together. If that's the only interpretation, there are far too many possibilities. What does this have to do with our trip to Cage? Yang Xingxin smiled. "Brother, this divination has 3 forms, image and text. Only by looking at the image and the prophecy and then combining them with the text can we understand what it is saying." Zhang Yi's gaze fell on the eulogy at the back. There was a soldier carrying a bow who said he was an old man with white hair. A golden sword lies hidden inside the east gate. A brave warrior enters the imperial palace through the back gate. This passage seems easy to understand literally. It was a soldier who stormed into the imperial palace, seemingly intending to assassinate the emperor. Yang Xingxin pointed to the prophecy above and the eulogy below. Looking at just one piece of information is not enough to make a decision. But if you look at both pieces of information together, the answer becomes very clear. 10,000 may not die, but one will not escape. A golden sword lies hidden inside the east gate. A brave warrior enters the imperial palace through the back gate. She stared at Zhang Yi and said in a deep voice, "According to the divination, our trip to Cage Kingdom may lead to a conflict with Commander Sane. We might even have to kill him. This is a highly probable event. He is unlikely to let us take the Spear of Longinus so easily, so conflict is inevitable." Deng Shentong frowned. "But if that's the case, then there will be a huge problem. After all, Cage is an independent sovereign nation with tens of millions of people. Commander-in-Chief Sane is also the head of state of Cage. If he is eliminated, it will inevitably have a negative international impact. Once this precedent is set, other countries' attitudes toward us will become very nuanced." A sharp glint flashed in his eyes. "No wonder Olive went to such lengths to find you and ask you to do this." Zhang Yi certainly knew about this. However, his original plan was to secretly investigate the location of the Spear of Longinus and steal it. His spatial abilities allow him to pass through walls and rooms, making it very easy for him to steal something. But if it means fighting Commander Ken Seen, that would be the worst-case scenario. Occupying a strategic geographical advantage, and with the added power of faith in the Kingdom of Cage, along with over 20 million fanatical followers, Commander Seen is bound to be incredibly powerful. Even today, he is not confident that he can defeat him. Zhang Yi looked at Yang Xingxin and asked, Xingxin, are you sure about your interpretation? Why is it definitely me? Is it possible that it refers to someone else? For example, an extraordinary person from another region of Huaxu Kingdom. Look, didn't Xiao Lai just chase Li Changgong away before? Li Changgong, could he be the person with the bow and the divination? Yang Xingxin shook her head. Brother, the man with the bow is someone who broke into the imperial palace, not the emperor. Don't forget, your name also contains the character for bow. The character Chinese letter in Zhang Yi can be broken down into Chinese letter, Bao and Long, and indeed contains the character for bow. Zhang Yi crossed her hands and supported her chin. Zhou Care said softly from the side, if such a thing happens, it will probably bring us a lot of trouble. To meddle in the internal affairs of other powers and assassinate a head of state of a major country. This is something to be very wary of. Yang Xingxin did not continue speaking. Only the two of them knew about the demonic eye mark on him and Zhang Yi. So she understood that they had to go on this mission for their own sake. No matter what, we must participate in this operation. Zhang Yi did not change his decision because of the prophecy. If we really need to do that, then it means it's God's arrangement, and we will surely succeed. He must have Ling's human body. Zhang Yi has already made his decision, so naturally no one else will have any objections. So everyone hurried to gather intelligence and prepare supplies. The fortress is always fully prepared for war, so no special preparations are needed. Zhang Yi simply greeted Zhu Zheng as a matter of routine, and then led Tianhai Fortress and the rest of the group to Europe. Blizzard City Command Center Building. After ending the call, Zhu Zheng sat in his office chair and rubbed his temples vigorously. Skycia City is now increasingly detached from Blizzard City, and the two sides' positions have been completely reversed. Zhang Yi didn't establish a regional headquarters simply because he was too lazy to get involved in the affairs of other places. But for Zhu Zheng, this feeling was not pleasant. Even the Deng family has completely sided with Zhang Yi. Deng Yuanbo remained in Blizzard City to manage the base, while the younger generation, Deng Shentong, was in Tianhai City. This family was betting on both sides. They truly lived up to their reputation as seasoned veterans, incredibly cunning. Zhu Yu, my daughter. He murmured Zhu Yu's name, and only when he mentioned her did Zhu Zheng feel a little more at ease. That is his greatest reliance now. Lan Xincheng stood behind Zhu Zheng, and seeing Zhu Zheng's melancholy expression, he hezitated before speaking. Commander Zhu, Zhang Yi is now one of the two top experts in Huaxu Kingdom. His international influence even surpasses that of Haodu. Although Miss Zhu Yu is exceptionally talented, will staying in Blizzard City limit her growth? She originally had the opportunity to surpass Zhang Yi. Zhu Zheng turned around without saying a word, but gave Lan Xincheng a sharp look. Lan Xincheng felt as if he had fallen into an ice cave, and quickly lowered his head. Your subordinate deserves to die. You shouldn't have said such things. Zhu Zheng sat in the chair, gazing at the cold sky in the distance, and remained silent for a long time. As long as Gao Changkung lives, Zhu Yu cannot leave my side. She was created by me, so she must obey me. Lan Xincheng nodded in agreement, but a hint of helplessness flashed in his eyes. The rebellion 3 years ago still leaves Zhu Zheng with a huge psychological shadow. Even though he knew that Gao Changkung was far away in Bharata, and it was impossible for him to risk going deep into the heart of Huaxu Kingdom, Zhu Zheng didn't dare to take any risks at all. He left Zhu Zheng's office, took the elevator down from upstairs, and went down to the underground laboratory. Zhu Yu lives here normally. Zhu Zheng spared no effort to make her stronger. Every day, she would be examined by Li Lingsu, who would also create a special training plan for her. When Lan Xincheng saw Zhu Yu, he said to her helplessly, I have already tried to persuade Commander Zhu, but he is worried about letting you leave. You should know that he has two major threats. One is Gao Changkung and the other is Zhang Yi. Zhu Yu lay on the beanbag chair, a black dress enveloping her, her bare feet touching the floor. His obsidian-like eyes revealed no emotion as he stared at the pristine white ceiling above him. Her room was filled with all sorts of plush toys. Although she has the physique of an 18-year-old girl, strictly speaking, she has only been in this world for less than 2 years. After hearing Lan Xincheng's words, she said with some confusion, I know Dad is afraid of Gao Changkung, but why does he consider Zhang Yi such a major threat? No reason is needed. A powerful overlord will always harbor malice towards anyone who can easily overthrow him. Zhu Yu's voice was flat and she said calmly, but there's no food I want here anymore. She is a devourer and must constantly consume. The feeling of possessing immense power after tasting the essence of high-level superhumans has become addictive to her. However, as her strength grew, what Zhu Zheng could give her was clearly no longer enough to satisfy her appetite. As Lan Xincheng looked at the girl in front of him, a strange thought surfaced in his mind. "Miss, are you planning to leave Blizzard City?" Zhu Yu sat up from the sofa. "This place is so boring. I want to see what the world outside the city is like." She gazed at Lan Xincheng, her eyes gleaming with a dark light that surged like a dark tide. A moment later, her body began to twist, and she actually split off another version of herself on the spot. Zhu Yu's true form, however, grew rapidly in height, with changes occurring in her skeleton and eyebrows. Lan Xincheng looked at everything before him without any surprise, until Zhu Yu completely transformed into his likeness. Even his clothes were exactly the same as the ones he was wearing. Zhu Yu possesses a wide variety of abilities, which is why Li Lingsu calls them thousand changes. Some low-level superhumans possess abilities that, while not very powerful, are extremely useful. "Are you planning to leave Blizzard City in my likeness?" Lan Xincheng frowned and said, "That would cause me a lot of trouble. Even he could be killed by a furious Zhu Zhang. Everyone knows the importance of Zhu Yu to Zhu Zhang. I'll leave her here, no one will find out." Zhu Yu pointed to his clone. Lan Xincheng asked, "What about Professor Li?" Zhu Yu curled the corners of her lips into a charming smile. "She has always been supportive of me." Zhu Yu was Li Lingsu's most perfect masterpiece, and she wanted to see more than anyone else how far Zhu Yu could grow. Zhu Yu left Blizzard City under the identity of Lan Xincheng. Zhu Zheng had always regarded her as a clone that he could control. But as time went on, he seemed to forget that even a clone is a living, breathing person. Her true form is Yuan Kong, and her personality is similar to Yuan Kong's. Deep down, she was a rebellious and crazy girl. An 18-year-old girl's mind is full of curiosity about the world. She said, "The world is so big, I want to go see it." Shortly after Zhang Yi and his group set off, they arrived directly in the city-state of Rome and met Alrib, who was waiting there. At the same time, they also met Odin and others. Although the scene before us is not as spectacular as the expedition to Fremont, all those who have come are top-notch experts from around the world. The Knights of the Round Table would naturally not come, because King Arthur was a member of the pupil organization in public and had a strained relationship with the Holy See. Only, didn't Colombia send anyone over? Zhang Yi asked curiously. Colombia is also a country where the monarchist sect is widely spread, so logically they wouldn't be absent from such an event. Orib said to Zhang Yi, "Something happened to their people, they won't arrive for a while. Don't worry, once you get the Spear of Longinus, he won't waste any time." Zhang Yi nodded, "That would be good." His gaze fell on the black man dressed in luxurious animal skins, and he looked on with curiosity. "I didn't see him during my previous trip to Fremont." Orib introduced Zhang Yi, saying, "This is the chieftain and shaman of the O clan from Africa. We need their help to enter the Eye of the Demon." He lowered his voice and said mysteriously to Zhang Yi, "The O clan had contact with underground civilizations in Africa in the last century. We suspect that they were demonic beings from the Eye of the Devil." Zhang Yi looked surprised. The last century. At that time, supernatural beings had not yet appeared on a large scale. Are these so-called demonic minions something that these African natives can fight against? However, Olib didn't explain much, as it was a secret of the Olib family and not suitable to tell Zhang Yi in front of Olib. On the contrary, it was Audrey who walked over with a dark face after seeing Zhang Yi. "Are you the Chaos from the East?" Zhang Yi nodded. "Yes, and who are you?" "Audibio. I am the patriarch of the Odd clan and a shamanic grandmaster. But you don't need to be so formal with me, just call me by my name. My name is Audibum Warvinir Tuan Wewen Ubenasebeo." Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi, hello, shaman. After the two talked for a while, Zhang Yi started to shorten the other person's name to Audibio. Audibio looked like someone not to be trifled with. Shamanism itself is extremely mysterious, and ordinary people avoid it like the plague. However, after talking to him for a while, I found that he was quite straightforward. He also expressed his interest in the many extraordinary arts of the mysterious Eastern country, and hoped to exchange ideas with them when he had time. "I have come as promised, but how exactly do I infiltrate the kingdom of Kaj, get close to Commander Ken Sayan, and obtain the Spear of Longinus without being noticed? This is a difficult problem." Zhang Yi looked at Ali. "Mr. Olib, you didn't call me here without a plan, did you?" "Of course," Orib said. "We have a complete plan in place. This story begins with Haiyan Hisu. Ken Sayan spent many years doing business in the eastern part of Huaxu Kingdom, which he considered his glorious years. Therefore, After becoming the Grand Marshal of Cage Kingdom, he especially missed the Cantonese cuisine of Huaxu Kingdom. Hyan Hisu caught Ken Sayan's eye not only because he had a beautiful wife, but also because he was an excellent Cantonese cook. Now that Hyan Hisu has defected, Commander Sin is missing a good Cantonese chef. Orib's advice to Zhang Yi was to disguise himself as a Cantonese chef and then get close to Ken Sayan. After listening, Zhang Yi pondered the feasibility of this idea for a while. It's not difficult to disguise yourself as a chef. Mu Yan's alternate dimension carries Yang Xia, whose culinary skills will surely satisfy Ken Sayan's appetite. After all, this is the end of the world. In poor and backward places like Africa, even a commander can't eat very good food. Yang Xia grabbed his hand and pinched it. But the question is, how do we get close? Intentionally applying for a chef's job would definitely arouse suspicion. Orib said with a smile, "We've already thought of this problem. In the Kingdom of Cage, the commander's orders are everything. Even the toilet paper he uses is a matter of utmost importance in the country. If he just says he wants to eat Cantonese food, I don't know how many people will rack their brains to find a professional chef for him. If it weren't for the constraints, I think they could even have gone to the Jiangnan region of Huaxu Kingdom and kidnapped a Cantonese chef. Our plan is for you to travel to Hupu City, on the border between the Kingdom of Cage and the Khitan Empire. There, you will enter an international hotel as a Cantonese chef. We will spread your name and fabricate a plausible identity for you. At that time, the people from Kaj will contact you. They won't miss this opportunity to curry favor with Commander Sin." Zhang Yi nodded. The plan was indeed a good one. But what about after entering the Kingdom of Cage? I know absolutely nothing about that place. Once I got there, I was like a headless fly. Forget about finding the Spear of Longinus. I'd be lucky if I could even find my way out. "You can bring your fellow countrymen," Orib said. As he spoke, he clapped his hands. From the back of the room, two clergymen led in a young man who looked haggard. Orib pointed at him and said, "This is Xuan Haixiu, a defector from Cage. You can take him with you. He spent 3 years in Cage and served as Commander Sin's personal chef. No one knows Cage better than him." Xuan Haixiu raised his head, his weathered face lifeless like a zombie, making Zhang Yi suspect that he had just been dug out of his coffin. Seeing Zhang Yi's familiar Asian face, Xuan Haixiu's eyes gradually brightened. You are from the Kingdom of Huaxu. Did your motherland send you here to save us?" He rushed to Zhang Yi, grabbing at her like a drowning person grasping at a straw. Zhang Yi instinctively took a few steps back to avoid him. He glanced at Orib, who said, "His wife has been taken away and her fate is unknown." Then Orib said to Xuan Haixiu, "This is a world-renowned expert. He is also a fellow countryman of your Huaxu Kingdom. This time, as long as you fully assist us, we can help you rescue your wife and send you wherever you want to go." Zhang Yi crossed his arms and carefully examined Xuan Haixiu. "This person is very useful. Not only is he an excellent guide, but he is also a superb cover." Zhang Yi could then use the pretext of saving his compatriots to openly and legitimately do things in Cage. Now there is another question, a very important one. Just how strong is Ken Sin? If the other party has limited strength, Zhang Yi will directly use the simplest method to force them to hand over the item. "The Holy See has never been at war with them, so it's difficult to make a clear judgment," Orib said. "However," he turned to look at the side where Saladin, the emperor of the Khitan Empire, and Odin, the god-king of Asgard and the ruler of the 9 realms, sat. "They might know. Africa is close to the equator and is one of the warmest regions. After the apocalypse, many Nordic countries, unable to withstand the harsh weather, considered migrating to Africa. Large parts of Africa now have newly built enclave cities by European countries. However, when they arrived in the Kingdom of Cage, they encountered strong resistance." Saladin looked at Zhang Yi and said, "The army of the Khitan Empire once set foot on this land, but returned empty-handed. It will be difficult for us to defeat Ken Sayan here." Odin also said, "Although I didn't personally intervene, the 2 Asgardian chariot-class mutants who led the team here suffered heavy losses. 1 black chariot-class mutant perished, and a large number of soldiers died tragically." After hearing this, Zhang Yi had basically made up his mind. The power of faith is the power to unite people's hearts, uniquely bringing together the spirits of many intelligent beings in one place. Therefore, Ken said may be unbeatable on this land. Otherwise, how could he have stopped so many powerful European nations from advancing south? Zhang Yi had a rough idea of what to expect. At that time, the population of the southwest region was only 1 million. With the accumulation of faith in Tantric Buddhism over thousands of years, The Lord of the Underworld was able to contend with the bishop-level Prince of Nash Kingdom with the Black Chariot. At this point, Commander Ken Saiyan would likely have reached an unimaginable level. He thought of the divination diagram in the Tui Bay 2 that Yang Xingxin had mentioned, and couldn't help but think it would be best if nothing happened. All actions were left to the Holy See and the Khitan Empire to arrange. Location selected, Hupu City. Zhang Yi specifically called Xuan Haxiu over and had Yang Xingxin shoot an arrow at him, after which he learned the whole story. He didn't have much to say about their fates. After the apocalypse, he experienced things even more difficult to accept. Humans are inherently incredibly fragile in the face of overwhelming forces. A day later, a new chef arrived at the largest international hotel in Hupu City. It is said that he is an excellent cook of Chinese cuisine, especially Huiyang cuisine. This is the persona Zhang Yi is being created for. If he happens to be good at Cantonese cuisine, it might actually arouse suspicion. He had already changed his appearance. Joe Kerr could easily move his facial muscles and bones to make him look like an ordinary young man with an unremarkable appearance. He was in the hotel kitchen, dressed in a white chef's uniform, and his cooking skills were terrible. He knew absolutely nothing. Yang Xia prepared all the food. He only needed to retrieve it from the shadow space when needed. Just as they expected, the fish took the bait in less than half a month. Several black men, who looked like they were from Kaj, came to the hotel and ordered several dishes that weren't on the menu, all of which were Cantonese cuisine. When these people appeared, their identities had already been investigated, and they were subordinates of a high-ranking official in the country of Cage. Upon seeing the dishes they ordered, Xuan Haxiu immediately said to Zhang Yi, "These are all Ken Saiyan's favorite dishes. They're testing your cooking skills." No. Zhang Yi remained calm because he didn't need to do it. After Yang Xia finished cooking, he had someone bring the dishes up to the table. Those people left without saying anything after finishing their meal that day. But Zhang Yi was very confident that they would come again. Sure enough, the people from Cage Kingdom came again the next day. However, this time it wasn't the two agents from the previous day, but a well-dressed middle-aged man. The high-ranking official from Cage came in person. After they arrived, they specifically requested that the chef from Huoxu Kingdom prepare the same dishes as yesterday. This time, however, the high-ranking official made a request. "I really like Chinese food, so would you like to go and see that chef in person?" Upon hearing this news, Olive frowned. Zhang Yi is not good at cooking. If that official comes to check, wouldn't he be exposed? However, Zhang Yi remained completely unfazed. If they want to see, let them come. If they can't even handle something like this, they'll have no chance of going to Cage. These kinds of things will happen even more frequently there, won't they? Orib didn't know what Zhang Yi was planning to do, but seeing how relaxed he sounded, he said, "All right then." The high-ranking official from Cage was greeted by the hotel manager and led to the kitchen, with two agents closely following him. Zhang Yi pretended to be nervous and waited for them with the other chefs. "The hotel manager is one of our own, and we've already spoken to everyone in the kitchen." The official was quickly brought before Zhang Yi. "Please cook now, let me see your cooking skills." The middle-aged official spoke with a gentle expression. After all, he knew that if the chef in front of him was truly skilled and gained the favor of Commander Ken Saiyan, then he would become a big shot in the Kingdom of Cage. In the Kingdom of Cage, a person's promotion depends entirely on the commander's whims. It was common for someone to rise from a humble peasant in the morning to a high-ranking official in the evening. "Yes, please wait a moment." Zhang Yi went to the cutting board, picked up the prepared ingredients, and started chopping vegetables. In terms of knife skills, he has absolutely no problem. His knife technique is highly proficient. Seeing the way he chopped the vegetables, the official nodded in satisfaction. However, the most difficult part is cooking. Heat oil in a wok, but don't turn the heat up too high to avoid overheating. Add the scallions, ginger, and garlic and sauté until fragrant. Yang Xia's voice came to Zhang Yi's ear. She was giving instructions on the spot, and Zhang Yi followed her instructions in every step. The most difficult part of cooking is mastering the heat. If you master the heat, the taste of the dish will be fine. North Africa is poor and underdeveloped, and there are no gourmets here who have ever tasted a Manchu Han imperial feast. According to Haiyan Hisu, Ken Saiyan was a picky eater, but he had never eaten anything truly good. Otherwise, a cook like him who works in the construction site canteen wouldn't have been able to gain his appreciation and be invited into the master's home. Therefore, even though Zhang Yi's skills were not very proficient, he could follow Yang Xia's instructions completely, and with his exquisite knife skills, The Cantonese dishes he made were actually quite presentable. The officials from Cage witnessed Zhang Yi's culinary skills firsthand, and their smiles grew wider. After he finished eating, he called Zhang Yi over and handed him a red envelope on the spot. It contains commodity exchange vouchers, which are considered hard currency at the border. It was a thick stack of bills, but it was a lot of money. "Thank you, sir." Zhang Yi acted like a greedy person, thanking him repeatedly. The official looked at him with satisfaction, but did not extend an invitation directly. Instead, he left after finishing his meal. Zhang Yi, however, was very confident that his cooking had won over the other person. After all, they couldn't find any other chefs who could cook Cantonese food. As Zhang Yi expected, the other party then conducted a thorough investigation into his identity. However, these materials had already been compiled by the Holy See and the Khitan Empire, and all the information along the entire line was completely organized, so they were not afraid of your investigation at all. So one day, after Zhang Yi got off work, he was walking home. As they rounded a road corner, two heavily disguised agents suddenly emerged from the shadows. Zhang Yi was startled, pretending, "Who are you people? What do you want?" The two men said, "Mr. Wu Yanzu, don't be afraid, we have something to talk to you about." As he spoke, an agent pulled an envelope from his pocket and handed it to him. Zhang Yi took the thick envelope, squeezed its thickness, and a satisfied expression appeared on his face. "What do you two want to talk to me about?" "It's nothing special, I just want you to cook a meal. But the process needs to be kept secret, so please don't tell anyone." Zhang Yi hesitated for a moment before nodding and saying, "All right then, I'll go with you." The two men immediately led him to a black car. Zhang Yi got into the car, the windows were completely covered by curtains, and there was a partition between the front and back seats, so he couldn't see anything outside at all. Of course, everything was under Zhang Yi's control. The car drove towards the border of Cage in the darkness of night. Upon receiving the news, Orib monitored the scene via satellite and said, "May God bless you to successfully complete your mission, Lord Chaos." Zhang Yi appeared to be alone, but in reality, he was leading a large family, with the entire force marching towards the kingdom of Cage. The car had been driving for a long time, and the road in the middle started to become bumpy, indicating that the infrastructure in Cage was indeed in a worrying state. Later, the car seemed to stop moving forward and came to a stop in one place. But soon after, I heard a rumbling sound again. Zhang Yi couldn't see anything, but based on everything he had learned from Xu and Haixiu, he had already guessed that they had boarded a train bound for Pulisang, the capital of Cage Kingdom. "It will take a long time to get there. You can rest for a while first." Zhang Yi couldn't help but ask, "Are we going to some far-off place? How long will it take?" The other party didn't answer directly, but simply told him, "You'll arrive when you wake up from your nap. If it's really that far, why not take a plane?" Hearing Zhang Yi's naive words, the agent next to him couldn't help but laugh. "An airplane? Are you kidding me? Someone like you probably hasn't seen anything like that since the Ice Age, has you?" The two men had no suspicion of Zhang Yi. After all, their investigation revealed that Zhang Yi's background was clean. He was just a second-rate chef who came to Europe from Huaxu Kingdom more than a year ago to work, cooking Chinese food in a small restaurant. Yes, his name is Wu Yanzu, an ordinary name. So Wu Yanzu asked curiously, "Isn't it faster to take a plane?" He definitely doesn't ride that thing because it's too slow. When the agent saw that Zhang Yi looked like a country bumpkin, he explained it to him. Before the apocalypse, the planes in the Kingdom of Cage were able to fly normally, and the accident rate was not very high. But after the apocalypse, ordinary planes simply can't withstand long flights. And fuel is a huge problem. Currently, the entire country of Cage has only one airport, located in Pulisang City. Only the Commander-in-Chief and officials authorized by the Commander-in-Chief are qualified to use it. Zhang Yi knew that Africa was quite poor, but he didn't expect it to be this poor. But he had no choice but to endure the train's snail-paced pace and continue towards prison. While on the road, he tried to continue communicating with the two agents. From the very beginning, he could tell that these two people were not like the well-trained Iron Men depicted in the movies. However, they didn't know much about the situation in prison, and they would choose to avoid topics that might be sensitive. That makes perfect sense. 3 years after the apocalypse, only a small number of people survived, making it impossible to effectively train soldiers. Even in the 6 major regions of Huaxu Kingdom, each department is filled with people with connections, or people who have to fill in many incompetent people, because they are really short-handed. This world is a huge makeshift operation. Zhang Yi waited for 5 or 6 hours, enduring a bumpy ride that nearly bruised his backside. The roads here are indeed terrible. It feels like being back in the most remote rural suburbs of Tianhai City. Oh no, it's even worse than that. The car finally stopped, and Zhang Yi was led by two agents into a magnificent manor. Yes, it's a manor. It was past midnight, but the huge manor was still brightly lit. In the very center of the estate stands a huge villa, which may be even larger than Zhang Yi's shelter. The estate outside the villa is even larger. Although Cage is poor and backward, it has introduced advanced temperature isolation technology. It involves covering the entire manor with special materials, making it look like a super large house. The entire interior is heated. The various flowers, plants, and trees in the manor are lush and green and must be pruned every day. They are very beautiful. There is also a huge swimming pool in front of the manor, and all kinds of colorful lights are hung on the outside of the house and on the green plants, making it look like some important festival is being celebrated. Zhang Yi didn't have time to look around much before the agents took him to the back and put him through a series of checks. Yes, this includes blood tests and thorough examinations involving undressing. Zhang Yi would never do such a thing, putting aside the fact that he couldn't accept having someone use their fingers to perform a proctological examination on him. The mere act of drawing blood violated his taboo. Blood is an important medium of causality. If it falls into the hands of a powerful causal agent, it can be fatal. These are certainly not problems for Zhang Yi. In a backward place like Cage, the surveillance network and system were riddled with loopholes in front of his team, like a spider web. Once he arrived at his destination, he no longer concealed his abilities. Liu Karen hacked directly into the network system and took complete control of the entire network system of Cage Kingdom, as easily as taking a piece of candy from a drawer in his own home. The network here is so bad that it's beyond just being riddled with bugs. As for the inspection process, it was Yang Xingxin who implanted false memories into the staff members. After the whole process was completed easily, Zhang Yi was sent to the kitchen and asked to cook a few Cantonese dishes. Zhang Yi quickly and skillfully prepared a large table of Cantonese dishes. These dishes will be served to Commander Ken Sayan. All Zhang Yi had to do next was wait. Not long after, half an hour later, QEZ, the captain of the personal guard, arrived at the kitchen with several of his men. The moment Zhang Yi saw QEZ, he heard Xuan Haixiu's nervous voice. He's Commander Xian's confidant, a ruthless character nicknamed the Viper. This guy isn't one of those incompetent fools you've met before. He's a truly formidable opponent. Be careful not to let him discover any weaknesses. Hyun Hisu was extremely nervous. If you were to ask him who he feared most in Cage Kingdom, it wouldn't be the commander but Choi Teek, because the commander-in-chief won't focus too much attention on him. However, QEZ was ruthless and merciless in his dealings with the commander. He and his wife fled to Hupu City, thinking they had gained their freedom, but he still sent people to arrest them and bring them back. If he hadn't still been of value to the papacy, he would have committed suicide by now. Even without Xuan Haixiu's reminder, Zhang Yi could tell how dangerous the man was just by looking at him. People who have committed too many killings carry a kind of ferocity in them, which is a kind of indifference to life. Zhang Yi also has this feeling, but he is better at pretending to be a harmless little rabbit, so he can hide this feeling. So when QEZ arrived, he saw an ordinary-looking cook who looked at him with curiosity and a bit of nervousness. QEZ carefully examined Zhang Yi. He had already read the medical report, which showed that there were no problems with the person's personal information. Wu Yanzu is a cook from Huaxu Kingdom who travels across the ocean to make money. He is a person without any abilities, with an ordinary appearance and a greedy and lustful personality. He is a guy who is only interested in money. Such a character perfectly meets their needs, because a person who loves money is usually not a big threat. He will be loyal to whoever gives him money. For some reason, QEZ felt uneasy the moment he saw Zhang Yi. This feeling was somewhat subtle, making his body feel uneasy. That was the body's instinct when an executioner, after killing too many people, encountered something even more terrifying than himself. However, Zhang Yi concealed it too well, and QEZ did not believe that Cage's intelligence system would have any problems. Is it because he's a chef and has killed too many animals that I feel this way? QEZ thought to himself. Indeed, professions where hands are stained with too much blood often give people the impression of being cold-blooded and ruthless. Butchers, cooks, and even doctors who frequently perform surgery. QEZ walked up to Zhang Yi and extended his right hand. I am QEZ, the captain of the Commander-in-Chief's personal guard, Thank you for preparing such a sumptuous meal. His Majesty the Commander-in-Chief was very pleased with the food. You are a hero of the Kingdom of Cage. Zhang Yi quickly reached out and shook hands with him. When they shook hands, QEZ exerted a little force, and Zhang Yi quickly pretended to be in pain and cried out. "Ah, what are you doing?" QEZ silently withdrew his hand and smiled slightly. Is the hand that was holding the knife so weak? Zhang Yi swung his hand while looking at QEZ with a dissatisfied expression. The hand holding the knife must not touch wild animals. QEZ stared at Zhang Yi and smiled. The commander wants to see you. Straighten your appearance and come with me. Zhang Yi thought to himself, everything is going more smoothly than I imagined. He washed his hands and face, then put on his chef's clothes and followed QEZ to where Commander Sai-En was. Throughout the journey, he fully displayed the nervousness, curiosity, and excitement of an ordinary person arriving at the palace. These are things he is very familiar with, and he doesn't need to perform them deliberately. After passing through long corridors and magnificent palaces, they finally arrived at Commander Sin's dining room. QEZ led Zhang Yi to a huge room. There were guards everywhere, and in the very center of the restaurant was a table that was at least 10 meters long. At the end of the long table sat the Supreme Commander of the Kingdom of Cage, Commander Ken Sayan. He was tall with long, shoulder-length blonde hair, but he wasn't black. He had a mixed-race appearance. His facial features suggested he was more from the Middle East. On the table were the dishes he had prepared, and the guard beside him wore clean white gloves and held a bottle of Rémy Martin cognac that looked quite old. Zhang Yi looked up for a moment, then quickly lowered his head again. Next, it's time to show off your acting skills. You absolutely cannot give yourself away, otherwise all your efforts will be in vain. QEZ approached the commander. Commander, I have brought the chef with me. The commander picked up the wine glass beside him, took a big gulp, and then looked up at Zhang Yi. He leaned back in his chair and asked in a somewhat gruff voice, "Are you the chef who can cook Cantonese food? Are you from Eastern Guangdong?" He spoke fluent Chinese. Zhang Yi quickly replied, "No, Commander, but I have been to Eastern Guangdong and have done business there." "Oh, is that so?" The commander laughed. "I used to do business there, wholesaling clothes from Eastern Guangdong and selling them to my compatriots in Africa." Zhang Yi said, "I'm also in the clothing business. You must have been to the 13 factories of Guangdong." The commander laughed heartily. "What a nostalgic name. I have indeed been to that place, but I have never wholesaled any goods from there. Clothes sold in Africa can only be sourced from those small factories because they are cheap enough." Zhang Yi's appearance and accent proved that he came from the kingdom of Huoxu, which reassured the commander considerably. Because what commander-in-chief is most wary of right now are the several European countries in the north. He wouldn't believe that anyone in Huoxu Kingdom on the other side of the world would be against him. The fact that they had both spent time in Eastern Guangdong made the commander feel closer to him. He pointed to the food on the table and said, "Your cooking is not bad, but it's not top-notch. 10 years ago, when I was in Eastern Guangdong, I had the best food there." He became picky. Zhang Yi certainly had a way to explain it. "Commander, times have changed. Fresh ingredients are hard to come by. Most are frozen or canned. If we're talking about culinary skills, I Wu Yanzu am second to none in Eastern Guangdong." He deliberately put on an arrogant air, as if a second-rate chef was trying to prove that he was very good. This sight made Commander Sayan burst into laughter. "Alas, times have changed. It's really hard to find authentic Cantonese food now. But your cooking skills are pretty good. From now on, you can stay and cook for me." He said it with great pride. Zhang Yi's face immediately showed hesitation. "Ah, this..." QEZ glanced at him. "It's an honor for you to cook for the commander. You will definitely be well compensated." A glint of light flashed in Zhang Yi's eyes. He swallowed hard and asked, "How much money can you give me?" The currency currently used in the Kingdom of Cage is the commodity exchange voucher. After all, in an era of scarcity, everything was supplied by vouchers, which was in line with the social reality. QEZ said, "Each month, you will receive 500 jin of rice, 30 jin of meat, and 2 boxes of canned vegetables. If you do well, there will be additional rewards. In addition, the government will allocate you a 3-bedroom house in prison for you to live in." This wage level is already quite high, because in resource-scarce Africa, it's practically impossible to get rice. After listening, Zhang Yi showed a satisfied expression. At this moment, the commander-in-chief spoke. He pointed at QEZ and said, "But how can this be enough? A man will definitely feel lonely if he doesn't have a woman by his side. Arrange another woman for him." As he spoke, he said angrily, Men can make mistakes because of women. My last chef did just that. He betrayed me for a woman. I really don't know what he was thinking. By the way, Choi Teek, where did Hyan Hisu go? Did you find him? QEZ snapped out of his reverie and nodded, saying, Commander, we haven't received any news of him yet. It's highly likely he's frozen to death in the snow. Without your protection, Commander, he is nothing but an insignificant nobody. Death is the end he deserves. The commander said dismissively, This is what happens when you don't know what's good for you. Inside the shadow space, Chuan Haixiu's face was terribly pale, and his whole body was trembling. He clenched his fist, but soon he heard something else that almost made him lose control. What will happen to his wife? Do you still want to enjoy her? The commander leaned back in his chair, thought lazily for a moment, and then sighed. Her husband is dead, and she has become an ordinary woman, which is very boring. Send her to the farms around prison, let her do some work and redeem herself. Chuan Haixiu's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Chengmei. He clutched his head, his face contorted in pain. Seeing this, Joker asked with concern, Are you all right? Please don't worry too much. We will keep our promise and help you rescue the person. Hyan Hisu clutched his head in anguish. But you have no idea how terrible the conditions are on those farms. Sungmi will die if she goes there. Joker was silent for a moment, then said, But at least she's not with Commander Sane anymore. Isn't it easier to rescue her? What you need to do now is to help us complete our mission with all your might. We promise we'll bring you home. Go home. Chuan Haixiu raised his head, tears welling up in his eyes. Heaven knows how much those two words moved him at that moment. Yes, I want to go home. I want to take Chengmei back to Huoxu Kingdom with me. Even if we die, we don't want to die in a foreign land. Inside the restaurant, Zhang Yi appeared quite satisfied with the chef's treatment. But soon, when Commander Xian had a girl who looked like dark chocolate brought in, his expression changed. This woman will be your wife from now on. You must cherish your life here and dedicate everything to serving the commander. QEZ said to Zhang Yi. The commander was quite kind to Zhang Yi, considering that the black chocolate beauties he sent were considered to be of a very high standard in the local area. Zhang Yi naturally had no reason to refuse. Instead, he rubbed his hands together with a look of surprise. Thank you, Commander. Long live the commander. Within the shadow space, Joker and several other women were already starting to feel unhappy. That kind of woman is terrible in both looks and figure. Her waist isn't slim enough and her face isn't as pretty as mine. Using a woman like that to seduce Zhang Yi? How ridiculous. If it weren't for acting, I think my brother would have thrown up on the spot. Just as the women were ranting and raving, an untimely voice rang out from the side. But it seems that our boss has never been in contact with a black woman before. Our boss is very curious, you know. He always wants to experience things he hasn't experienced before. The speaker was a kind-looking, chubby man. As soon as these words were spoken, several sharp, murderous gazes shot over. Fatty Sue's face paled, and he quickly raised his hands, saying, But how could a ruthless leader like our boss be distracted by women? He will definitely remember his mission. Regardless, Zhang Yi still had to appear excited at this moment. The black woman also walked over to Zhang Yi and affectionately put her arm around his neck. Zhang Yi knew in his heart that this woman was sent by the other side to monitor him. Commander, thank you so much. Zhang Yi put on a show, smiling and thanking Commander Sai En for the reward. The commander waved his hand at him. Okay, you can go now. QEZ personally escorted Zhang Yi out, and once outside the door, he warned him. The most important thing in serving the commander is loyalty. As long as you are loyal to the commander, you will be rewarded with wealth and honor. However, his tone turned cold, and his gaze sharpened like a knife, as if it were about to pierce Zhang Yi's chest. If you dare to do anything to betray the commander-in-chief, your fate will be far more cruel than hell. Zhang Yi's expression changed, and he quickly said, I know, I will definitely work hard. QEZ nodded, and then arranged a car to take Zhang Yi and the dark chocolate to the house assigned to him. Once they arrived at their destination, Zhang Yi removed his disguise. Lu Karen took complete control of the entire network in Cage Kingdom, all in less than a minute. That's equivalent to a world-class hacker infiltrating a small internet cafe. The room was equipped with surveillance cameras, even in the bedroom and bathroom. QEZ could control his every move. Lu Ran was able to create a very realistic video to fool QEZ. So as soon as the door closed, the black woman took off her heavy clothes and smiled as she tried to come closer. An arrow shot directly into her forehead, causing her to faint on the spot. Yang Xingxin emerged from the shadows on the ground. I implanted a false memory into her with that arrow just now. When she wakes up, she will only think that she and you had an interactive movement. Zhang Yi sat on the sofa, and the others gradually emerged from the shadows. Mind domain allows him to perceive the movements within a 5-kilometer radius. No slightest disturbance can escape his notice. After emerging from the shadow space, Xuan Haixiu looked at the familiar room and couldn't help but burst into tears. This is the house where Chengmei and I used to live. Upon hearing this, Zhang Yi's eyes flickered slightly. Was I deliberately placed in this place? Interesting. All right, now we're going to get started. There are 2 objectives for this mission. Zhang Yi held up 2 fingers. First, obtain the Spear of Longinus. Second, he said, looking at Haiyan Hisu and meeting his hopeful gaze, rescue Li Sungmi. A look of gratitude appeared in Xuan Haixiu's eyes. But here's the problem. The Spear of Longinus is just a name, but no one has ever seen what it actually is. I only know from the Dead Sea Scrolls that it's a sealed artifact known as the Spear of Godslayer. Since it's called a gun, its appearance can be understood as something shaped like a gun. It has always been on the North African plains. There is a special connection between the sealed object and the sealed object. This should be the guidance given to us by the entity that sealed the giant god Druk before. If I'm not mistaken, it was precisely because Commander Saiyan obtained it that he rose to become the ruler of the Kingdom of Cage. He would never keep something so important away from himself, so I think the Spear of Longinus must be on the island where he lives.